The first time Captain Marcus Wright killed someone with a pencil, the Galactic Diplomatic Corps nearly had a collective aneurysm. "You did what?" Ambassador Clevox's translucent skin flushed purple with alarm, all 6 eye stalks trembling. The Thruvian diplomat's crystalline exoskeleton clinked softly as he backed away from Marcus. He was trying to inject Ambassador Pelletier with something, Marcus explained, holding up his hands placatingly. The standard-issued 2 pencil still clutched in his right fist was now missing about an inch from its tip. I reacted on instinct. That was how Marcus Wright, former Special Forces operator and current security detail for Earth's fledgling diplomatic corps, found himself explaining human defensive capabilities to a room full of horrified aliens who had just witnessed him drive a pencil through the neck of an Aurelian assassin. The conference room aboard the Galactic Confederation vessel, Harmonious Exchange, had gone deathly silent. 26 species represented, and not one of them seemed to be breathing. The body of the would-be assassin lay twitching on the polished floor, leaking purple fluid from where the pencil had severed something important. "This is precisely why we objected to humans joining the Confederation," hissed Representative Jotak of the Rexian hive. "They are unstable, unpredictable. Look how casually this one has taken a life." Marcus didn't bother pointing out that the Vrexians consumed their young when resources were scarce. Glass houses and all that. Ambassador Pelletier, a composed woman in her 60s, cleared her throat. "Captain Wright performed his duty. I was about to be attacked." "With a sedative," squealed Clevox. "The Aurelian was merely planning to incapacitate you to delay the vote." Marcus felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. The intelligence brief said Aurelian venom is lethal to humans. The silence that followed confirmed his mistake. Apparently, the Confederation's xenobiologists had recently discovered that Aurelian's secretions, while deadly to most carbon-based life forms, merely caused temporary paralysis in humans. Information he would have received if the Confederation hadn't classified humans as non-essential participants in the security briefings. The diplomatic incident escalated rapidly. Earth's delegation was sequestered to their quarters, while the Confederation Council debated whether humans were too dangerous to include in galactic society. Marcus found himself confined to a room barely larger than a closet, the alien architecture making his skin crawl. Everything was slightly wrong, the gravity too light, the air too sweet, the lighting flickering at frequencies that gave him migraines. "You realize you've just confirmed every preconception they have about us," Security Chief Dawson told him through the comm. Her voice sounded strained. "Humans, the savage death world is too violent to join civilized society. They set us up to fail," Marcus replied, pacing the 5 steps his room allowed. "They've been doing it since first contact, withholding critical information, isolating our delegation, feeding us half-truths. That doesn't change the fact that you killed a sentient being with office supplies." Marcus couldn't argue with that. "When you grew up on Earth, a planet the Confederation classified as a Class 5 death world, you learned to survive. Humans evolved alongside predators, natural disasters, and each other. They developed redundant organs, rapid healing, and the ability to ingest substances that would kill most other species. They could endure temperature extremes that would liquefy or crystallize the bodily fluids of most Confederation species, none of which endeared them to a galactic community that had evolved in more forgiving environments. 3 hours later, Marcus was summoned to what he assumed would be a tribunal. Instead, he found himself in the ship's medical bay, surrounded by aliens in environmental suits. Through the transparent barriers, he could see the wounded and sick from a dozen different species. "What am I doing here?" he asked the Medulian doctor, whose gelatinous body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. "The Harmonious Exchange was attacked 20 minutes ago," the doctor's translation device buzzed. "A previously undetected pathogen was released in the ventilation system. Multiple species affected. Humans appear immune." Before Marcus could process this information, the ship lurched violently. Emergency lighting bathed everything in pulsing blue. "What was that?" Marcus demanded. "Boarding party." The doctor's light patterns flashed rapid distress signals. "Marauders from the outer reaches. They detected our weakened state and attacked. Our security forces are compromised by the pathogen." The ship rocked again. Something exploded several decks away. "How can I help?" Marcus asked automatically. The Medulian doctor's light patterns shifted to what Marcus had learned was surprise. You wish to assist? After your confinement? After we were prepared to expel your species? That's not relevant right now, Marcus said. How many unaffected security personnel do you have? None. All Protectorate guards are Vanderaxian. Their respiratory systems were the first targeted. Marcus took a deep breath. Then I need weapons and access to your security systems. The doctor hesitated. Captain Wright, the Marauders are Kravathul mercenaries. They evolved on a world with twice Earth's gravity and toxic atmosphere. Their exoskeletons can withstand most conventional weapons. Even healthy Vanderaxian guards would struggle against them. Good thing I'm not a Vanderaxian then, Marcus said, already moving toward the door. And I need more than conventional weapons. The Medulian's body pulsed with what might have been resignation. What do you require? Marcus grinned tightly. Everything you've got, and whatever I can improvise, and I need to know where Ambassador Pelletier and the other humans are. Deck 7, diplomatic quarters. All delegates were ordered to shelter in place, and the Marauders entered through the cargo bay on Deck 3. They're moving upward. Marcus nodded. Then I need to get to Deck 7 before they do. Armed with an assortment of alien weapons he barely understood, and a crude map of the ship, Marcus moved through the corridors of the harmonious exchange. The artificial gravity fluctuated wildly, a sign of damaged systems. Twice he had to hide as Kravathul mercenaries stomped past, their chitinous bodies scraping against the walls. They were massive, 9 feet tall, with 4 upper limbs ending in vicious claws and mandibles that could shear through metal. Marcus had never felt so human, so fragile, so outmatched. When he reached Deck 7, he found chaos. The pathogen had reached the environmental systems here. Alien diplomats lay gasping or unconscious. Some species were apparently unaffected, but they cowered in corners, evolutionary instinct overriding diplomatic training. He found Ambassador Pelletier helping a wheezing Thruvian. Captain Wright, she acknowledged calmly, as if they were meeting for morning briefing. I assume those explosions mean we're under attack.
Marauders.
Everyone who can move needs to get to the central conference room. It has independent life support and better security protocols. She nodded sharply. I'll organize evacuation. What's your plan? Buy you time, he said simply. He didn't need to explain further. Pelletier had been military before becoming a diplomat. She understood sacrifice plays. The remaining human delegation members, all 6 of them, helped gather the conscious aliens and guide them toward the conference room. Marcus stood guard, listening for the heavy tread of mercenary boots. Clevox, still healthy due to his crystalline respiratory system, approached Marcus warily. The Kravathul will show no mercy, the Thruvian said. They harvest archons and technology. They will dissect you while you still live. Sounds like a bad day at the office, Marcus replied, checking the alien weapon he'd been given. But I've had worse. Clevox's eye stalks quivered. You cannot possibly hope to defeat them. There are at least 20. Each one could tear you apart with minimal effort. Probably, Marcus agreed. But your people don't understand humans very well, Ambassador. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived predators, plagues, each other. We're weaker than the Kravathul in almost every way except one. And what is that? Marcus smiled grimly. We're really good at improvising ways to kill things. At first, Kravathul rounded the corner just as the last diplomat was ushered into the conference room. Marcus didn't hesitate. He fired the alien weapon, which emitted a pulse of energy that seemed to irritate rather than harm the mercenary. The creature roared, mandibles clicking in what might have been laughter. Marcus backed away, drawing the Marauders from the conference room. His mind raced, cataloguing the environment, looking for advantages. The ship's artificial gravity was fluctuating. The ventilation system was compromised. The lighting was erratic. All problems. But maybe also solutions. He retreated to the environmental control junction he'd passed earlier. The Kravathul followed, confident in their physical superiority. They didn't rush. Why would they? They were tracking a soft, slow prey animal. Marcus reached the junction and made his choice. The most desperate, most human choice possible. He used the alien weapon to blast open the environmental control panel. Alarms blared. Emergency bulkheads began to close throughout the deck. With seconds to spare, Marcus overrode the safeties on the gravity generators and atmospheric regulators for the corridor where the Kravthul were advancing. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Gravity increased tenfold in the sealed corridor. The atmosphere vented partially into space before emergency force fields engaged. Temperature plummeted. The massive Kravthul, suddenly weighing thousands of pounds each in the crushing gravity, collapsed. Their exoskeletons, evolved for their homeworld's conditions but not these extremes, began to crack under their own weight. But Marcus hadn't escaped the affected area entirely. The edge of the gravity field caught him, driving him to his knees. He felt ribs crack, organs strain, blood vessels in his eyes burst. The temperature drop seared his lungs. As darkness closed in, his last thought was of Earth, beautiful, deadly Earth, where humans had learned that sometimes survival meant embracing the impossible. Marcus Wright woke to the steady beep of medical equipment and the strange sensation of floating. His first coherent thought was that he shouldn't be alive. His second was that maybe he wasn't. Not completely. "The human is conscious," announced an unfamiliar voice, the translator giving it a metallic edge. Marcus tried to speak, but his throat felt like he'd swallowed razor blades. When he attempted to move, nothing happened. Panic flooded him. Was he paralyzed? "Remain still, Captain Wright," came another voice. This one he recognized as the Medulian doctor. "Your skeletal structure suffered extreme compression trauma. We have you suspended in a regenerative field." Marcus forced his eyes open. The world swam into focus, or rather, the world beyond the transparent membrane of what appeared to be a medical pod. He was indeed floating, suspended in a bluish gel. Beyond the membrane, a variety of alien faces watched him with expressions ranging from clinical interest to what he interpreted as revulsion. "Did it work?" he managed to croak. "If by it, you mean your suicidal manipulation of ship systems to neutralize the Kravthul boarding party, then yes," replied Ambassador Pelletier, stepping into view. "Though at significant cost to yourself and the ship." Marcus tried to nod, but couldn't move his head. "The delegates?" "Safe. Even the infected ones have been stabilized." Pelletier's professional demeanor cracked slightly. "You saved a lot of lives, Captain." 17 Kravthul, neutralized," added another voice, and a tall, spindly alien moved into view. Unlike the others, this one wore what appeared to be military insignia. 3 escaped when their ship detached. "I am Commander Vexaloran, Tactical Overseer for the Confederation Security Council. You have impressed us, human." Marcus would have laughed if he could. Impressing them had cost him dearly. He could feel it now, the wrongness in his body. The crushing gravity had done more than break bones. "How bad?" he asked. The Medulian doctor's bioluminescent patterns flickered in what Marcus had come to recognize as discomfort. "Your internal organs were severely compressed. Your spine sustained multiple fractures. Your muscle tissue experienced significant tearing. Under normal circumstances, recovery would be impossible." "But," Marcus prompted, sensing there was more. "But humans possess remarkable regenerative capabilities," interjected Commander Vexaloran. "Capabilities the Confederation has underestimated." Over the following weeks, Marcus learned exactly what recovery meant. The regenerative field could heal his broken body, but not completely. Some damage was permanent. His spine would never be the same. His lungs operated at reduced capacity. His heart had been reinforced with synthetic tissue. He was half the soldier he used to be, but still twice what the aliens expected. Commander Vexaloran became Marcus's unlikely mentor during his rehabilitation. The Soluvian military officer was ancient by human standards, over 300 years old, and had seen more of the galaxy than any human alive. "Your species is an anomaly," Vexaloran told him during one of their sessions as Marcus struggled to relearn how to walk. "Most intelligent species evolved on worlds far less hostile than Earth." Marcus gritted his teeth as pain shot through his rebuilt legs. "Lucky them." "Indeed, but it has made them complacent." "Soft." Vexaloran's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Marcus had learned indicated contemplation. "The Kravthul incident has forced a reassessment of humanity's position in the Confederation, from dangerous primitives to useful cannon fodder." Marcus grunted, taking another agonizing step. Vexaloran made a whistling sound that the translator didn't bother interpreting. Marcus had learned it was something between a laugh and a sigh. Cynicism, another human trait. The commander extended one of his 4 arms to steady Marcus as he faltered. The Security Council has authorized a joint Human Confederation security force. You have been nominated to lead the human contingent. Marcus stopped mid-step. Me? I can barely walk. You neutralized 17 Kravathul warriors while suffering injuries that would have killed any other species. The Council believes you have, what is your expression? The right stuff. As the days passed, Marcus's suspicion grew that Vexilloran wasn't telling him everything. The commander spent long hours in private communication with entities he wouldn't name. Occasionally, Marcus caught snippets of conversation about genetic viability and adaptive potential. When questioned, Vexilloran would change the subject. Meanwhile, the Harmonious Exchange had docked at Centauri Station, a massive space habitat at the edge of human-controlled space. The ship needed extensive repairs, and the delegates needed a secure location to continue their deliberations. It was on Centauri that the situation escalated from bad to catastrophic. The first sign was when 3 human diplomatic aides fell ill with symptoms resembling severe radiation poisoning. Then reports came in of similar cases on Earth and the Mars colonies. Within days, thousands were sick. Within a week, the death toll climbed into the hundreds. It's engineered, Dr. Sarah Thompson, Earth's leading xenobiologist, explained during an emergency briefing. Her hologram flickered above the conference table. A pathogen specifically designed to target human physiology. The same one released on the Harmonious Exchange? Marcus asked. He stood at the back of the room, still unsteady but determined to be present. No, Thompson replied grimly. That was the test run. This is the refined version. Ambassador Pelletier's face had gone ashen. How bad? Projections suggest total human extinction within 6 months, unless we find a treatment. The room erupted in panicked voices. Marcus watched as Vexilloran slipped quietly from the room, his 4 eyes fixed on a private communication device. Marcus followed, his rebuilt body protesting every step. He tracked the commander to a secluded communication node on the far side of the station. Listening from outside, he heard Vexilloran speaking in his native tongue to someone. The translator Marcus had been given rendered the words in halting English. Human genetic adaptability exceeds expectations. Surviving test subjects show promising mutations. Recommend accelerating the timeline before resistance develops. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. It wasn't just a bioweapon, it was a controlled experiment, and Vexilloran was involved. He confronted the commander immediately, slamming his way into the communication node with reckless abandon. You knew, he snarled, fury giving him strength his damaged body shouldn't have possessed. You knew about the bioweapon. Vexilloran didn't bother denying it. Not initially, but yes, I learned of its existence after the Harmonious Exchange incident. And you said nothing? While my people are dying? The commander's posture shifted to something defensive. It is complicated, Captain Wright. There are factions within the Confederation who believe humanity represents an existential threat. So they decided to wipe us out first? Is that it? Not all of you. Vexilloran's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, only enough to ensure your species remains manageable. Marcus lunged for the alien, but his damaged body betrayed him. He stumbled, collapsing to one knee. I did try to help you, Marcus, Vexilloran said, his tone almost regretful. I advocated for selective culling rather than extinction. The strongest of you could still serve the Confederation. You son of a bitch, Marcus whispered, rage making his vision blur. Secure him, Vexilloran ordered, and suddenly the room was filled with Vanderaxian security personnel. They seized Marcus easily, his weakened state no match for their strength. The Krevthal attack wasn't random, was it? Marcus asked as they bound his hands. It was, orchestrated, to test human capabilities. Vexilloran didn't answer directly. Rest assured your performance was illuminating. Marcus was thrown into a holding cell, isolated from the human delegation. Through snippets of conversation among his guards, he learned that Ambassador Pelletier and the others had been quarantined under the pretense of preventing further contagion. 3 days later, while being transferred to what his captors called secure research facilities, Marcus made his move. Feigning greater weakness than he actually felt, he collapsed during transit. When the guards moved to assist him, He struck with desperate fury, using every dirty trick Special Forces had taught him. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't honorable, but it was effective. Bleeding from reopened wounds and barely able to stand, Marcus made his way to the station's communication hub. He needed to warn Earth, to expose the Confederation's treachery. But when he arrived, he found Ambassador Pelletier already there, along with Dr. Thompson's hologram. "Captain Wright," Pelletier greeted him, unsurprised by his battered appearance. "Perfect timing. Ambassador, the Confederation, they engineered the pathogen." Vex Lauren admitted it. "We know," Thompson's hologram replied. "We've isolated the pathogen. It's remarkable. Specifically designed to interact with human DNA in ways that shouldn't be possible without intimate knowledge of our genetic structure." Marcus leaned heavily against the wall. "We need to warn Earth, prepare defenses." "It's already too late for that," Pelletier said, her voice oddly calm. "The pathogen has reached every human settlement in the solar system. Then we need a cure, something That won't be necessary," interrupted Thompson, her hologram flickering. "The pathogen isn't behaving as its creators intended. Instead of killing us, it's changing us." Marcus stared in disbelief. "Changing us how?" "Enhanced cellular regeneration, increased neural efficiency, improved oxygen utilization." Thompson's professional demeanor cracked slightly. "Captain, this pathogen isn't destroying human DNA, it's optimizing it." "That's impossible," Marcus whispered. "So is surviving what you survived on the Harmonious Exchange," Pelletier pointed out. "Yet here you are." The realization hit Marcus like a physical blow. You both knew about this." Pelletier at least had the grace to look ashamed. "Not initially, but we suspected something after the first outbreak. The Confederation has been too interested in human genetic samples, too fixated on our adaptive capabilities. So instead of warning our people, you let them be infected with an alien bioweapon? A bioweapon that's making us stronger," Thompson interjected. "The Confederation wanted to cull us, to weaken us. Instead, they've accelerated our evolution." Marcus felt sick. "And the people who've died?" Pelletier wouldn't meet his eyes. "Acceptable losses for species survival. If the Confederation realized their mistake, they'd try again with something more lethal." The betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound. These were the people he had nearly died to protect, the representatives of humanity he had sworn to serve. And they had gambled with millions of lives. "We need your help, Captain," Pelletier continued. "Vex Lauren suspects something is wrong. The Confederation is preparing to quarantine all human settlements by force. We need time for the changes to complete in enough of our population to matter." "And how exactly am I supposed to help with that?" Marcus asked bitterly. Thompson's hologram gestured to a nearby console, the station's main reactor. If it were to experience a catastrophic failure, the resulting electromagnetic pulse would disable all communication and transportation in this sector for weeks. Enough time for our people to complete the transition. "You want me to blow up the station?" Marcus said flatly. "With everyone on it?" "Just the central hub," Pelletier clarified, as if that made it better. "Most of the delegates and crew are already evacuating due to the contagion risk. The only ones left are the Security Council members coordinating the quarantine effort." "And me," Marcus added. Neither woman contradicted him. They didn't need to. They all knew his damaged body couldn't escape in time. "Why not do it yourselves?" he asked. "The reactor room security is coded to recognize Confederation military clearance," Thompson explained. "Your time with Vexilleran gives you access he never rescinded." Marcus laughed bitterly. "Of course, the one person who tried to save me in his own twisted way is the one you want me to betray." "He was using you, Captain," Pelletier said sharply. "Using all of us. This is our only chance to gain the advantage." Marcus straightened as much as his damaged spine would allow. "Get out, both of you. If I do this, it won't be for you." After they left, Marcus stood alone in the communication hub, the weight of two civilizations pressing down on him. He thought of Earth, beautiful, dangerous Earth, where humans had evolved to survive anything the universe threw at them. Maybe it was time to throw something back. He made his way to the reactor control room, each step a reminder of what the Confederation's games had cost him personally. The security system recognized Vexilleran's access codes embedded in Marcus's medical implants. Inside, he began the complex process of overriding the reactor's safeguards. He was nearly finished when the door opened, and Vex Lauren entered alone. "I had hoped you were different, Marcus," the commander said quietly. "I thought the same about you," Marcus replied, not looking up from his work. "You cannot possibly understand the complexities at play. The Confederation has existed for millennia in careful balance. Your species threatens that balance. Because we don't roll over and die when you expect us to." Vexaloran made that whistling sound again. "Because you adapt, because you survive, because left unchecked, humans would dominate the galaxy within generations." Marcus finally looked up. "So you tried to cull us, make us more manageable?" "Yes. No evasion, no apology. And we failed. The pathogen is not killing enough of you. It is making you stronger. The Security Council has authorized more direct intervention." "Meaning?" "Meaning the destruction of Earth, a regrettable but necessary sacrifice to preserve galactic stability." Marcus felt strangely calm as he entered the final sequence. "Do you know what your mistake was? You assumed we'd play by your rules, that we'd fight you conventionally." Alarms began to blare throughout the station. "What have you done?" Vexaloran demanded. "What humans always do," Marcus replied, a grim smile spreading across his face. "I improvised." The reactor began its countdown to critical failure. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, trapping them both in the control room. "You killed us both," Vexaloran stated, his translator unable to fully convey the emotion in his voice. "Yeah," Marcus agreed, sliding down against the console as his failing body finally gave out. "But I've given my people a fighting chance." As the reactor reached critical levels, Marcus thought not of glory or revenge, but of Earth, of oceans and mountains, of deserts and forests, of all the deadly beauty that had forged humanity into what it was. No one would know exactly what he had done or why. He would die here, unknown and forgotten. But humanity would survive. Humanity would adapt, and the Confederation would learn just how dangerous a cornered species could be. Darkness, then light. Not the white light of myth, but the harsh blue of medical equipment. Marcus Wright struggled to open his eyes, each eyelid weighing 1,000 pounds. When he finally succeeded, he found himself staring at a ceiling that shouldn't exist, because he shouldn't exist. The station's reactor had reached critical failure. He remembered the blinding flash, the roar of escaping atmosphere, the crushing pressure as the bulkheads gave way. He remembered dying. Yet here he was, breathing, feeling. "He's conscious," said a voice he didn't recognize. A face moved into his field of vision, human but subtly wrong. The eyes were too large, the skin too perfect, the movements too fluid. "Captain Wright," the strange human said. "Welcome back." Marcus tried to speak but produced only a rasp. "Don't try to talk yet," the figure advised. "Your vocal cords are still regenerating, like most of you." "Regenerating?" Marcus tried to move but found his body unresponsive. Panic surged through him. "Relax," the figure soothed. "It's been 8 months since Centauri Station. You've been in stasis most of that time while we rebuilt you." 8 months? Rebuilt? His silent questions must have shown on his face, because the figure, a doctor he presumed, continued. "Your body was recovered from the debris field by an automated salvage drone. Most people would call it a miracle that enough of you remained intact for identification. What happened next, though? That was pure human ingenuity." The doctor pressed something, and Marcus's bed tilted upward, giving him a view of the room and of himself. His body was different, sleeker, somehow. Where metal reinforcements had once supported his damaged spine, there now appeared to be some kind of translucent material fused with his flesh. His skin had a subtle sheen to it, almost iridescent under the medical lights. "What did you do to me?" he managed to croak. The doctor smiled. "We completed what the Confederation started." Over the next few days, as Marcus regained strength and mobility, Dr. Elaine Jackson explained what had happened after Centauri Station. The electromagnetic pulse from the reactor overload had indeed disabled Confederation communications throughout the sector, just as Pelletier had hoped. But it had done something else, too. Something no one had anticipated. The pulse had interacted with the pathogen, accelerating its integration with human DNA on a massive scale. Within weeks, 90% of the human population had undergone significant genetic alteration, Jackson explained. Enhanced cellular regeneration, improved neural processing, adaptation to extreme environments. We're still discovering new capabilities. And the other 10%? Marcus asked, already suspecting the answer. Jackson's expression darkened. Not everyone survived the transition. The very young, the very old, those with certain genetic markers. We lost millions. The guilt hit Marcus like a physical blow. His actions had helped trigger a transformation that killed millions of people. It wasn't your fault, Jackson assured him, reading his expression. If you hadn't bought us time, the Confederation would have sterilized Earth. Instead, we evolved. Into what? That's the question, isn't it? She gestured to his new body. You're our most extreme case, partly because of your prior injuries, partly because you were at the epicenter of the pulse. We used elements of the pathogen to rebuild you cell by cell. Marcus flexed his hand, watching as the skin shifted in ways human skin never should. Am I even human anymore? More human than ever, came a familiar voice from the doorway. Just humanity. Ambassador Pelletier stood there, but like Marcus, she had changed. Her once silver hair now had an unnatural luster, and her eyes reflected light like a cat's. You look well for someone who helped send me to my death, Marcus said coldly. And you look remarkably good for someone who actually died, she countered. We didn't know if you'd survive, Marcus, but we hoped. Why? So I could see what I helped create? He gestured to his altered body. So you could help lead what comes next, she replied. The Confederation has gone silent. No diplomatic communication, no trade, no anything. We believe they're preparing for war. Can you blame them? Marcus asked bitterly. You were right about one thing. The pathogen made us stronger. They have every reason to fear us now. Perhaps, said another voice, this one not human at all. Or perhaps fear is merely the first reaction to change. Commander Vexeloran stepped into the room. Marcus lunged from his bed with inhuman speed, pinning the alien against the wall before anyone could react. His new body moved with lethal precision, his hands finding Vexeloran's throat with unerring accuracy. Give me one reason why I shouldn't kill you right now, Marcus growled. Vexeloran's 4 eyes blinked calmly. Because I am no longer your enemy, Captain Wright. I am a refugee. Marcus reluctantly released him, stepping back. Explain. The faction I represented within the Confederation was not the only one, Vexeloran began, straightening his garments. Some of us advocated controlled integration of humanity. Others wanted isolation. The most extreme pushed for extinction. And you? Marcus demanded. I believed humanity needed guidance. Control. I was wrong. That's not good enough, Marcus snarled. No, it isn't, Vexeloran agreed. But consider this. When the pathogen began changing humans instead of culling them, I could have reported the truth to the Security Council immediately. I did not. I delayed. I obfuscated. I bought time. Why would you do that? Pelletier asked, clearly as surprised as Marcus. Vexeloran's translator couldn't fully convey the emotion in his voice. Because I began to question my assumptions. Because after spending time with Marcus, with humans, I recognized something the Confederation has forgotten. And what's that? Marcus asked skeptically. Change is necessary for survival, the alien replied simply. The Confederation has existed for millennia in careful balance, as I told you. But balance is not the same as stagnation. We have not truly evolved in generations. We merely persist. So what changed your mind? Marcus pressed. You did, when you were willing to sacrifice yourself not for glory, not for power, but to protect your sissies, even after they betrayed you. Vexeloran made that whistling sound that served as his laugh. It was illuminating. Marcus wasn't ready to forgive, but he released the alien and stepped back. You still haven't explained why you're here. Because when the truth about the pathogen's effects became known, the Security Council fractured. The extremists seized control. They are preparing to deploy weapons that would destroy not just Earth, but every system where humans have settled. His 4 eyes fixed on Marcus. I could not allow it. I escaped with what information I could. Why should we believe you? Pelletier asked. You shouldn't, Vexeloran replied. Trust must be earned, but you should verify what I've told you, because time is short. Over the following weeks, as Marcus adapted to his new body, Earth's leadership confirmed Vexeloran's warning through their own intelligence channels. The Confederation was indeed gathering its forces, marshalling a fleet unlike anything seen in generations. During this time, Marcus discovered that his transformation went beyond the physical. His mind worked differently now, faster, more intuitively. He could process information with machine-like efficiency while retaining human creativity. Most strangely, he found he could sense others like him, a faint awareness of their presence and emotional states. Dr. Jackson called it quantum neural entanglement, a side effect of the pathogen rewriting human neural pathways. It's rudimentary telepathy, she explained, limited in range and specificity, but unprecedented in human evolution. Not just human evolution, Vexloran added when he heard this. No Confederation species has developed such capabilities naturally. It is concerning. You mean it scares the hell out of them, Marcus translated. Yes! The revelation came during a strategic briefing in what had once been the Pentagon, but was now the nexus of Earth's defense network. Intelligence had confirmed that the Confederation fleet would arrive within days. We've tried every diplomatic channel, Pelletier reported grimly. They're not responding. Then we fight, said General Hayes, his enhanced eyes gleaming. The pathogen has given us advantages they can't anticipate. And they have weapons we can't imagine, Vexloran countered. This war would devastate both sides. Marcus had been silent, studying the holographic display of the approaching fleet. Something about its configuration bothered him, but he couldn't place what. Then it hit him. They're not in attack formation, he said suddenly. All eyes turned to him. Look, he pointed to the hologram. If you were launching an extinction-level attack, you'd position your dreadnoughts at the vanguard, not spread throughout the formation. This is a defensive posture. Vexloran studied the display, his four eyes widening. He's right. This is not an attack fleet. It's an evacuation. Evacuation from what? General Hayes demanded. From us, Marcus realized with sudden clarity. They think we're the aggressors. The room erupted in confusion, but Marcus's focus narrowed to Vexloran. The alien was hiding something, he could feel it, a new sense that went beyond intuition. What aren't you telling us? Marcus demanded. Vexloran's posture shifted subtly. The pathogen was never meant to cull humanity. That was a convenient explanation for those who feared your species. He paused. It was designed to prepare you. Prepare us for what? Pelletier asked sharply. For what awaits beyond the Confederation's borders, Vexloran replied. The galaxy is larger than you know, and far more dangerous. The Confederation has maintained its balance by avoiding contact with others. What others? Marcus pressed. Species that make the Cravathul seem gentle by comparison. Species that do not negotiate, do not compromise. Species that simply consume. A chill ran through the room. And you think we can fight these things? General Hayes asked incredulously. I believe humanity properly evolved might survive them, Vexloran corrected. Which is more than the Confederation can say. So the pathogen, Marcus began, was created by a faction within the Confederation who believed that humanity's unique adaptability, if properly enhanced, might succeed where our stagnant civilizations would fail. We did not create the pathogen to destroy you, Captain Wright. We created it to become you. The revelation stunned everyone present. The Confederation hadn't been trying to cull humanity, it had been trying to acetate human evolution, to create the perfect weapon against an enemy they were too afraid to face themselves. And now they fear what they've created, Marcus concluded. With reason, Vexloran admitted. You are unpredictable, dangerous, but also, perhaps, necessary. In the days that followed, as Earth prepared for the Confederation fleet's arrival, Marcus struggled with this new understanding. The faction that had created the pathogen had played God with an entire species, causing millions of deaths in the process, yet their intentions had been preservation, not genocide. The moral complexity left him adrift. The clear lines between friend and enemy had blurred beyond recognition. When the Confederation fleet finally arrived in Earth's orbit, they made no aggressive moves. Instead, they sent a single communication, a request for parley. Marcus was selected to represent humanity, his unique position as both victim and beneficiary of the pathogen, making him the logical choice. Vexloran accompanied him as advisor and translator. The meeting took place aboard the Confederation flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed anything in Earth's arsenal. The Security Council members, representing 24 species, regarded Marcus with expressions ranging from fear to fascination. "You appear to have survived your own destruction, Captain Wright," observed the Throvian counselor, his crystalline exoskeleton clicking nervously. "Humanity has a habit of doing that," Marcus replied. The negotiations were tense, complicated by the fact that the council itself was fractured. Some wanted to destroy Earth immediately, others advocated containment. A few, led by the faction Vexluran represented, pushed for alliance. What tipped the balance was not diplomacy, but demonstration. During a heated exchange, one of the councillors made a threatening move toward Marcus. Without thinking, he reacted, not physically, but mentally. The quantum neural entanglement that connected him to other enhanced humans momentarily extended to the alien, creating a flash of shared consciousness. The councillor recoiled in shock, all 6 eye stalks trembling. "It touched my mind," he gasped. The room erupted in panic. Security forces moved in. Weapons were drawn. And Marcus discovered that what he had once perceived as his greatest weakness, his rebuilt hybrid body, was actually his greatest strength. The same technology that had saved him had given him the ability to bridge the gap between species, to create understanding where words failed. "Stop," he commanded, and somehow, impossibly, they did. Not out of fear, but because for a brief moment they felt what he felt, saw what he saw. In the silence that followed, Marcus made his proposal. "The enemy beyond your borders doesn't care about our differences. It won't negotiate. It won't show mercy. But perhaps, together, we can do what neither of us could do alone." 3 days later, the treaty was signed. Not an unconditional surrender, but not a true alliance either, a wary partnership, born of necessity and mutual fear. The Confederation would share its technology and knowledge, humanity would share its adaptability and evolution. And Marcus Wright, once a simple soldier, now something both more and less than human, would serve as the bridge between 2 civilizations. "Do you think it will work?" Pelletier asked him as they watched the Confederation fleet reposition itself in Earth's orbit, no longer a threat, but not quite a shield either. "I think we don't have a choice," Marcus replied honestly. "Whatever's out there beyond the borders, it's coming, and neither of us can face it alone." "And you? What will you do now?" Marcus looked down at his transformed hand, watching the subtle play of light beneath the surface of his skin. He was no longer fully human, but he wasn't alien either. He existed in between, a living bridge between worlds. "I'll do what humans have always done," he said finally. "Adapt, survive, and maybe, just maybe, help build something better than what came before." As he spoke, he felt the faint echo of countless others like him, humans transformed by the pathogen, connected through quantum entanglement across planets and systems. A new kind of consciousness emerging from the ashes of what they had been. Humanity had changed forever. The Confederation would never be the same, and beyond the borders of known space, ancient predators stirred, sensing new prey. The real war hadn't even begun yet, but this time they wouldn't face it alone.